We've got a really interesting show planned out for you all today. But first, if you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so. We are racing our Steelers channel here at Chat Sports to the next milestone. We're less than 40 subs away. Let's beat them there. Hit that big red button and subscribe. Another reason, too, is the Browns Report difference. We give shout-outs here at the channel. So shout-out to Michael. I know you're watching, a loyal viewer, friend of the program, with some of the higher-ups here at Chat Sports. Hope you're feeling better, man. Hope you have a good weekend. Always appreciate you and everyone who tunes in to the Cleveland Browns Report. Boy, oh boy, do we have some Browns rumors to hit on today and some juicy ones as well. As Mary Kay dropped, I wouldn't say a bombshell article, but it was a pretty interesting article that if you read through it, read between the lines, you can maybe see what she's hinting at. And it revolves around DeAndre Hopkins and Amari Cooper. D-Hop potentially reuniting with Watson by the lake, and Amari Cooper potentially leaving the Browns, which I did not wake up this morning and expect I would see or talk about, but here we are. So, like I said, it all started with Mary Kay's article that came out this morning. She tweeted out safety John Johnson and 3 other players the Browns must make big decisions on in 2023. And when I saw that, I thought, okay, yeah, I mean, we all know what's happening with John Johnson, a lot of money to be saved. What's new? But I was like, all right, let's see what the other names were, though. And one of them was Amari Cooper, which kind of caught me by surprise, to be honest with you. Here's what Mary Kay said exactly. The problem is Cooper has a cap hit of $23.77 million for 2023 and is one of a number of candidates to be cut, traded, or restructured to add more talent. If he's designated as a June 1st cut or trade, the Browns would save $20 million on the cap, a tantalizing prospect despite his immense talent. A 4-time Pro Bowler, Cooper might also need surgery this offseason to repair the core muscle injury, and if it doesn't get in, he could struggle at times in 2023 like he did down the stretch in 2022. The Browns might also have a chance to explore a trade for Cardinals 3-time Pro Bowl receiver DeAndre Hopkins, who excelled with Deshaun Watson in Houston. Regardless if Cooper stays or goes, the Browns still need to upgrade the core with a speedy receiver to stretch the defense. Hold up, wait a minute. Since when was Amari Cooper on the trading block or on the cutting block? Yes, you can save some money, I get that, but he is worth the money, right? He was the Browns' best receiver, without a doubt. He was statistically the best receiver, really, since Josh Gordon, nearly a decade ago at this point. So, I don't understand when Amari Cooper became an option to move on from. I understand the idea of saving $20 million or so, which we'll look at later on, but who are we kidding here? If the Browns move on from Amari Cooper, this team is screwed, right? We're looking for wide receivers, not talking about getting rid of the few good ones the Browns have right now. Now, in 2022, Amari Cooper against DeAndre Hopkins, here's how they stacked up. Cooper, now, it is worth noting Hopkins played in 9 games compared to Cooper's full 17, but Amari Cooper had a career year in a lot of ways. 78 grabs, 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns. Amari Cooper was one of the better wide receivers in football last year. He sort of just got lost in the shuffle of not being on a playoff team, not being on a big market team. They got a bunch of primetime games and played with Jacoby Brissett and not a very good Deshaun Watson at times for the later half of the year. Now, there is DeAndre Hopkins, which I'm not going to say is a bad idea to trade for him because he's super good. And it's never a bad idea to trade for super good players. He's also got a really good connection with Deshaun Watson. You can look at DeAndre Hopkins' stats with Watson while the two overlapped in H-Town. 4,715 yards and 31 touchdowns. There's no debate here about DeAndre Hopkins being a good player and it being a fun acquisition for the Browns. But if it comes at a price of losing Amari Cooper, well, I've got some issues with that, and I'll explain those in just a moment. But first, today's Cleveland Browns Report is sponsored by Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. You can get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Now, I recently gave AG1 a try because I hated taking pills and vitamins and wanted a supplement that actually tastes great. I take AG1 in the morning, and it makes me feel ready to take on my day. It really helps me with starting my day on the right foot and getting into a healthier lifestyle. I start the day with making one great choice, AG1, and more healthy decisions then follow. Covering my nutritional basis for the day literally couldn't be easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. Now, I just mix one small scoop of AG1 with water and drink it first thing each morning. Done. I also love that it costs less than $3 a day, which is pretty good if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients. Win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Now that's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Check it out. The link is in the comments and the description of today's show. Getting back to the Amari Cooper segment, though, there are some savings to be had. I can admit that. The cap hit for him this year, like Mary Kay pointed out, is just north of $23 million. That's a big number for a team that's currently in the red. Now, don't panic, and I'll explain why later. Now, if they were to release him or trade him before June 1st, well, the cap savings, 8.6. Post June 1st, 15.1 million. So pre-June 1 cap savings, 8.6. Pre-June 1 dead cap is 15.1. If they wait till after June 1st, then the cap savings jump from 8.6 million to 20 million, and the dead cap falls from 15 million down to 3.7 million. That's with the release or a trade, although no one's really trading for a receiver or any good player after the draft. So with that, we sort of segue into the second half of this, which is trading for DeAndre Hopkins potentially. Hopkins does have a no-trade clause, so if he does not want to go to Cleveland, he's not going to Cleveland. That's simple. His cap hit in 2023, by the way, is not much better than Amari Cooper's. It's $19.4 million. So if the Browns are doing this to save money and stay at a high level for a receiver, they're not saving that much money. And they're getting an older wide receiver. Amari Cooper, 28, 29 years old. DeAndre Hopkins, 31. And his cap hits aren't much more than Amari Cooper's. Much less, $19.4 million, like I said, this year. And in 2024, it's about $14.9 million. So I want you all to pick a wide receiver for me. If you had to choose between DeAndre Hopkins and Amari Cooper, who are you going with? I don't think I have to verbalize my response. I think the jersey I'm wearing right now says it all for me. Because at the end of the day, I'll take Amari Cooper, and keeping the second-round pick or the third-round pick you'd have to give up for DeAndre Hopkins over DeAndre Hopkins. Give me Cooper and that second instead of D-Hop. I don't think that's a hot take, right? They need that second-round pick for their defensive line or for a safety, whichever one they don't get in free agency. And we're talking about Amari Cooper. He didn't have a down year last year. He was fantastic. Remember the numbers? 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns? Who's to say DeAndre Hopkins is going to come in and put in better numbers when he's older and he's not much cheaper by a couple million or two? Now, the Browns' cap situation as of right now, and it's going to be fluid, is this. They've got negative $14 million in cap space, which means they've got to clear $14 million just to get back to zero. Now, they're going to move on from potentially John Johnson. They're going to restructure some contracts. The cap situation will not be dreadful, okay? It's not going to be a disaster. They will have some money to spend. They're going to have one big swing in them, I think. Daron Payne or Jesse Bates, someone of that statute. They're not going to get 2 or 3 big guys, right? They're going to be around $35 million. If they give out a contract that averages about, somewhere between $17 to $20 million to Payne or Bates, that's not leaving them a ton else to spend on big-name players here. So for that reason, I'm keeping Amari Cooper. Definitely not cutting him. I don't want to trade him. I'd rather keep Cooper and that second-round pick over a D-Hop trade because I think DeAndre Hopkins is a great football player. I don't think he is the missing piece for this offense. I think a speedy slot receiver is, and I'll take Josh Downs in round 2 plus Amari Cooper over just having DeAndre Hopkins and DPJ. Now, in Mary Kay's article, she also outlined 3 other players to watch. Let's take a look at those names. Amari Cooper, who we touched on. Ethan Pocic, who I think it's pretty clear at this point, the Browns want him back. The Browns can't afford to spend big on him, right? We just went over how much money they had to spend. Now, if I'm Pocic, I could probably get some more money elsewhere. He was one of the best centers in football. But at the same time, maybe stay for $1 million or $2 less, whatever it is. You get to play in between 2 of the best guards in football, Bitonio and Teller, and you get the best offensive line coach in football, in Bill Callahan. That's pretty tempting to me, if you ask me. John Johnson, I think he's gone post-G1, kind of like Austin Hooper last year. And then there's Anthony Walker. And this is an interesting name. Should the Browns bring back Anthony Walker? The green dot, the middle linebacker of this team the last 2 seasons, has had injury issues over those 2 seasons. Remember, he went down with an injury against the Steelers in week 3 and then unfortunately never got to see him again after that. But his presence was missed, right? We felt it immediately when he went down in the following games. This defense was kind of, a chicken with head cut off at times. Just didn't have much guidance, didn't have much direction. Now, I thought what Mary Kay wrote about Walker was very intriguing. Allow me to share with you all. One of the best leaders the Browns have had since their return in 1999, Walker would help establish the culture on a defense that struggled last season. New defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz could use a player like Walker to help implement his defense and his methods. The son of a high school football coach, Walker has coaching in his veins and will be an excellent one if he chooses when he's done playing. The Browns should be first in line to hire him when he's ready for that. So kind of like a D'Amico Ryans in the wings right there. But Walker was missed in more ways than just one. It wasn't just his skill set, what he brought between the lines, his leadership, his presence in that defensive huddle, right? I'm all in on re-signing him for $4 to $6 million. My guess is Walker probably wants to come back too. It feels like he believes that they are really building something in Cleveland, and he wants to be a part of that. So if you'll take a vet minimum with a whole bunch of incentives in there, handshake, let's call it a deal, and let's get this thing done. Before we go, we've got a really fun evening here at Chat Sports. We got our company holiday party, and we're going up to a casino, Choctaw in Oklahoma, and I want to hear from you all right now because we're going to get to the roulette table, and I want to know, what is your go-to number at the roulette table? So give me a number. I'm going to put some dough down on it. We're going to put some chips. Are you red or are you black? I like to play in the numbers on the inside. Let me know what your number is at roulette. And hey, if I pick it and we win, I'll give you a shout out on a future show.